Innovate BC. It's a webinar. We're going to learn, we're going to listen, we're going to take in the knowledge that Carmelle and Anita are going to bring to us this afternoon. They're going to talk about certification. I'm just going to let this person in. So today we're going to discuss the requirements of CanDo's technical and professional Aboriginal economic development certification. So this certification recognizes the educational and professional level of experience that all candidates enrolled in the process have. This level of recognition confirms the necessary skills and knowledge to fulfill the requirements of their position more effectively and supports their career paths in the field of Indigenous community, economic development, and related professional areas. So I got to listen to these two knowledgeable, strong women share about what they do within their roles. Really informative, really, if we can say this in economic development, really inspiring what they're doing. Really, I think it's important, you know, to continue to educate ourselves, to grow in our areas in which we are working. So I think that this is really good information that you two ladies are going to bring. So I'm really honored. I feel really honored. My name is Michelle. I'm joining from Edmonton, Treaty 6, and Misquitchie, Waskahigan. So Treaty 6 territory. I'm really honored to be able to introduce these two speakers today. So Carmelle, she is from Samson Cree Nation of Masquatchie, Alberta. She has a business administration accounting diploma from Northern Alberta Institute of Technology. So Nate, she was previously employed with Samson Cree Nation for the last 4 years, where she was a dedicated employee in the residential development department as a CMHC coordinator. She's very passionate about helping her nation and nation members by providing the best resources for programs available. For the last 2 years, Carmelle was the Special Projects Coordinator, where she oversaw the regional events before she transferred into the role of Certification Coordinator West. Carmelle looks forward to having the opportunity to work with many accomplished Indigenous economic development officers and land managers from across Canada. Sounds like a really rich position. Working in this position, she has gained valuable work experience and enjoys networking with professionals in the field of economic development. So I trust that you have so many good stories, so many, you have had so many opportunities of networking with people who in their nations and their communities. So we really look forward to hearing from you, Carmelle. And Anita, she's going to say which nation she's from, but it's a Mi'kmaq nation in New Brunswick. I didn't want to butcher, I didn't want to dishonor I'm gonna pronounce your First Nations community. So she's a graduate from the University of New Brunswick, where she earned a master's in adult education, along with a Bachelor of Arts in Education degree. So she holds a diploma in human resource management and recently became certified under the Canadian Career Development Foundation. Wow. Anita has extensive experience and skills in economic development, community development, Indigenous education and training, and women's issues. Anita facilitates training and workshops across a range of topics, including career counseling, guiding circles, and community planning. So here we have these two amazing Esquayawak, that's women in Cree, who are going to just bring their knowledge, their experience, perhaps their passion about what they do, and they're going to talk to us about this certification. So I really feel honored that you've joined us this afternoon. There will be a link sent to you at the very end, an evaluation link, and we'd love to hear your feedback. So in the event that you have any questions or comments, they are welcome. Please use that chat box. And then at the end of the presentation, we will have time for a discussion if you have any questions or comments. So welcome. I'm going to hand the virtual reins over to Carmelle.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Carmelle here. So a lot of your names that are popping up, you look familiar. You've probably attended our accredited course, most recently the First Nations Law one. I think Erica and Guarv, I'm sorry. But I'm just going to share a screen right now and go to our PowerPoint presentation. All right, so for those of you who don't know, CanDo is a national Indigenous organization involved in community economic development, and we build capacity which strengthens Indigenous economies by providing programs and services to economic development officers and land managers. Oops. Great, and Anita, I believe you're still on mute if you want to unmute yourself. And
Okay, the Technical Aboriginal Economic Developer Certification is obtainable for any individual, EDO, another Aboriginal professional who's working in working for your First Nation or your development corporation, or working outside your community in these are just examples for a post-secondary institution, private enterprise, etc. So we see a wide variety of individuals who apply for what we call the TAED. And again, that's an acronym for Technician Aboriginal Economic Developer. So this level of certification through CanDo is based on proving competency in 11 areas. And you can read the 11 areas there: Aboriginal law and policies, organization and financial management, governance and leadership, economics, sustainable environment and land stewardship, lands and resource management, project management, community planning and development, community-based economic development, contemporary Aboriginal economic development, and finally, Aboriginal business development and entrepreneurship. Each of these competency areas have been identified or defined by economic development officers working in the field, who see this, or these rather, as the core competencies that enable them to perform the job of an EDO or other economic developer in their community. So CanDo has a long history working with EDOs at the field level. I myself was an EDO for CanDo, or under an EDO for my community, but got certified under CanDo for my TAED. And I'll manage the certification program for Eastern Canada. So these are the core competency areas. These you can prove or provide evidence for in a variety of ways. And we'll switch to the next slide.
oh, so there are two ways to obtain your TAED certification. The first way is to be a graduate of one of our 7 accredited institutions across Canada, and we'll go over with those on the next slide. And the second way is probably a more accessible way. It's called our Prior Learning Assessment Review, PLAR. And this is where we take a matchup of your education and your professional experience to those 11 core competencies that we went over. So we will request for your transcripts and your current resume and just match up your experience. And from there, if an applicant does not qualify, we would recommend further training, and we offer a lot of training opportunities throughout the year at our regional events. And since we have gone virtual, it is all online. So it's super accessible to everybody across the country. We most recently had our First Nations business law and community economic development. And we've had people from the East Coast to the West Coast attend. So it's really great because we partner with one of our accredited institutions to hold this course. It's Nickel Valley Institute of Technology, which is in Merit BC. And when you do complete the total 45 hours, you do get 3 credits and obtain this competency. So your TAED is valid for 4 years. And after that, you must renew it. And part of the renewal process is that you attend one of the CanDo events, whether it be our national conference or one of our training events. Yeah. Oh, Anita, did you want to add anything to the TAED process that I may have missed?
No, that's good.
Okay.
I think you covered it.
Okay.
So, oh,
No, go ahead.
so CanDo is, it has a partnership with a number of post-secondary institutions across the country who deliver our technical Aboriginal Economic Developer Certification program. And the institutions, as you can see from the list, vary anywhere from a diploma program to an MBA. So currently CanDo is accredited with the Nicola Valley Institute of Technology in your home province of BC. And their Aboriginal Community Economic Development, or ACED diploma program, is directly aligned with our 11 competencies. That means that as you finish or you wrap up your degree or diploma, you are simultaneously earning your TAED. So it's just a matter of a quick, a few forms that we send out. Your institution signs off that says that you are indeed, you have indeed fulfilled the requirements of their program, and therefore you're eligible for CanDo's TAED. We have other institutions across the country. We have Algoma University in New Brunswick, I'm in Ontario, and their program is the Community Economic and Social Development Diploma and Degree Program, the CESD program. We have the Aurora College, in the NWT, and their certified program is Business Admin, Community Economic Development Stream, a diploma program. We are also accredited directly with Cape Breton University's Masters of Business Admin and Community Economic Development, the diploma, the degree, and the master's program. We're also aligned directly with University of Lethbridge in Alberta, the Indigenous Governance and Business Management Certificate, post-diploma or degree program. Also, the University College of the North in Manitoba is directly aligned with CanDo's competencies, and that is through the Community Economic Development Diploma Program. And finally, through the University of Winnipeg, Manitoba, we have the Masters in Development Practice, the Indigenous Development Program, the MDP. So again, I'll stress that by virtue of your graduation from any of these programs, you are eligible to apply for and obtain your CanDo TAED certification.
So both Anita and I are TAED certified. She also has our second level, the PAED certified, which is a professional level. But because I was not a graduate from one of our 7 accredited institutions, I went through the prior learning assessment review, and Anita did that review. So I did submit my post-secondary transcripts and my current resume to her. And I took a business diploma program at NATE. And a lot of my courses that I've taken related to our competencies. I always like to mention how sometimes it takes more than one course just to fill one of our competencies. For instance, economics, I took micro and macro, and though it was able to fill both those courses were able to fill the economics competencies. We also have organizational management and organizational and financial management. So that would be an intro to finance course and also an organizational behavior course to fill that competency. So these are the logos from our accredited post-secondary partners. And professional Aboriginal economic developer. the paid level. So this one here is acknowledgement of your professional work experience. So you have to, all applicants must be a current CanDo member, also be previously TAED certified, and be actively working 5 years in the economic development field. And Anita, did you want to speak to your experience being paid certified?
Sure. Just a little background on myself. I'm from the Metabanaugiak First Nation, which is a Mi'kmaq community in New Brunswick. We're a small community. I was their economic development officer and their employment training officer for many years. And as a group of Atlantic EDOs, we were lucky, I guess, is one way to describe it, to acquire funding through the Atlantic Policy Congress to access funding so that all EDOs in Atlantic Canada were able to take courses and become CanDo certified. So, you know, once every 2 months or so, we would leave our communities for about a week at a time, and we would begin a specific course and to just nail down one of the competencies, and through a combination of online assignments and work and classroom instruction, we were able to complete quite a number of university credit courses. And those all culminated for me in obtaining my TAED. And because I was a practicing EDO in a community, I then applied after my 5 years to my PAED or my PAED level, which was based on, as Carmelle said, work experience and a combination of professional development courses and other courses. Attending the CanDo conference, as an example, would be one of those criteria that you could use to satisfy your application towards your PAED. So I obtained my PAED, and I maintained that on a regular basis. Your PAED is valid for 5 years, after which you have to recertify by proving ongoing professional development and or participation in CanDo conferences.
So for those of you who are going back to school or attending any kind of post-secondary education in the field of economic development or business, CanDo has partnered with CIBC and Inspired to offer scholarships. So these scholarships are awarded to anybody from who's attending a diploma program right up until their master's. And then we have our annual scholarship from our new fund, and that is $2,000 each for 4 awards. And I do apologize for the date there. It is July 31st, 2021, when the next deadline is. And every year we have our Economic Development Youth Summit, where we invite youth from across Canada, ages 18 to 30, to attend. And by attending this week-long event, it was in person, now it is a virtual online event. They do get course credit from Nickel Valley Institute of Technology for Intro into Community Economic Development. So that'll be 3 credits that goes towards their diploma program, whatever they're enrolled in. And so they all have to do a case study at the end. So even though it has switched to online, and they still come up with really great virtual presentations.
Mm-hmm.
And here's our contact information. And we just wanted to open up the floor to discuss any questions that you may have in the application process, or if you're interested in applying or further training.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Carmelle and Anita. So there is their contact information. I think, you know, if this is something that is of interest and you just even want to, you know, start that conversation, connect with these ladies. anything great always starts with a conversation. It starts with questions. So feel free to reach out. Thank you. So in a moment, if anyone has any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. So get ready to unmute yourself, or if that's something that you're not comfortable with, use that chat box. I just had a thought, I guess a question actually. So do you need to be a CanDo member as you're making these steps towards certification? So how does that look? You just fill out a form? Is it online?
Yes, so for both TAED and PAID, one of the requirements is to be a current CanDo member. If you're a student, if you're currently a student, the membership fee is only $25. I don't know what it is for a full member or organizational member. Anita, do you happen to know?
I'm really sorry. I don't have that information right in front of me, but it's not a lot. And all of our forms are available online at www.edo.ca. So anything you need to know about CanDo, that's your website. It will cover anything from SETI initiatives to training to the conference. There's a lot of great information just at the CanDo website. So please go there. Like as I said, it's not a lot of money. We have student membership, we have a regular membership, we have an organizational membership rate. So please have a look there.
Great.
I also wanted to mention that this that the session is being recorded, so it will be available afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So Michelle, I would just add that typically a candidate or an individual interested in CanDo certification would likely go to the CanDo website and see my contact information or Carmelle's, shoot us off an email. We, of course, are happy to receive these. We open up a conversation, and the first requests are usually, please send us your university transcripts wherever you went. Please send us a copy of those. They don't even have to be official copies. We will accept a copy. So send us a copy of your transcript, send us your resume, and then Carmelle and I begin looking through your courses. We look at the content of each course that you've taken. All of this information is available online. So we look at your coursework, we look at compare it to the 11 competency areas, and we match them up. And typically, most people with most people, we can say to them that, you have met, X number of competencies. We would like you to, begin coursework in these areas. We also look at the resume. So that's where the prior learning assessment comes in. So if you've been a practicing EDO or been working for an Indigenous organization for some time, you probably have, a skill set that may match some of those competency areas. So we look at that, and we may credit you with those competencies depending on what your work entailed. We're pretty easy to get along with. They can see us, we're fun girls, and we enjoy having really that conversation with people, right across the country. We have a graduation ceremony once a year, usually at our annual conference. We see people from right across Canada, north, south, and north, east, and west apply to us and get their certification. We've had people who have diplomas in various courses that plus a combined work experience. We have people with degrees. We've had a couple of candidates, or I shouldn't say candidates, because they now have their CanDo professional, people who have their PhD, who work in Indigenous governance or in some other aspect of business related to Aboriginal economic development. So we're really proud of our alumni, if you will. Lots of skills, lots of abilities, lots of women, which I'm proud of. And so we encourage, application and open up the conversation with us.
That's great. And it sounds like anybody who wants to pursue this avenue, they would be in good hands with you two ladies and with the organization itself. So
Yes.
awesome. Val, you have your hand up.
I did have a quick question about membership. I've been employee of the Joint Economic Development Initiative for 5+ years. Would that qualify as a membership, or do I have to have an individual membership as by myself?
It would have to be individual.
Okay.
Anita, you agree, right? That
Yes, Val, if you were to apply to us, of course, you already know that I'm going to ask you for your resume and any transcripts you have. I'm going to want you to be a member of CanDo as an individual, because with that individual level, there are certain other benefits that come with that just for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Val. Anybody else have any questions or comments at the moment? Feel free to join in. Unmute yourself.
So just a quick question, and I know we went over this in the presentation. So the first step is going to be contacting Carmelle or Anita and kind of sharing our information about, I've done some programs through Algonquin College, and then also Saskatchewan. Well, it's called Sask Polytech now, but it used to be called as Saskatchewan. I forget what SIAST. Anyway, so once we send that information to you, then I wait to hear back from Carmelle and Anita in order to determine what else I need to do in terms of giving you the transcripts. And then if I have to take any other programs through one of the colleges, right?
Yes, that's correct. So what I like to do is, I just wanted to just clarify that I am the certification coordinator for the Western provinces. So that's Manitoba West and the Northwest Territories, and Anita oversees Ontario East, the Atlantic region. So what I like to do when I'm doing the review process is I'll take your resume and I'll start like looking into it, and maybe I could see that there's something in there that could be relatable to one of our competencies. So instead of just saying you're not filling it, I'll go back to you and ask you for more information. Say you were a manager of this department for so long, I'll be like, give me a bit more details on what your duties were as a manager. And that could be relatable to project management or even filling that financial aspect for the organizational and financial management competency. So when you work on budgets and invoicing and all of that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great, thank you for the question. Anybody else? One thing I heard you say, Carmelle, was that like right now it's just everything seems to be really accessible. Like, when the world shut down, and that was about a year ago, everything shut down. So we had to really pivot. We had to really think outside of the box. We had to really be creative how we're going to do business. But I think it also created opportunity for it to be accessible online, virtually. So can you talk a little bit about that? The accessibility of pursuing this certification?
Yeah, so over the last year, we've noticed that priorities have changed, and everybody, like including my own nation here, we're all in like a state of emergency. So we're all prioritizing and reevaluating our situation. But now that we're kind of in this zone for the long haul, people are starting to, ask about furthering education and what kind of certification they can get into. So being that everything is offered virtually and online, it has made it more accessible and more appealing to, stay at home and be able to contribute, or apply for this, our certification. Anita, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I would just say that, COVID has been, pretty big deal across the country. And I know I can relate to what I'm hearing in the news, but here in New Brunswick, we've been fairly lucky. We've had not a real mass of people getting COVID, though in some communities it is more prevalent. But I think that people were initially dealing with all of those wellness issues and ensuring that they had everything they need to protect themselves and their loved ones through COVID. And here we are entering, what looks like our second year with it. Um, I think people, as Carmelle said, were prioritizing wellness, and which is important. I see people now up east here. There's a bit of a resurgence in seeking their CanDo certification, and being online and having it accessible is such a gift, really. When I was a younger EDO and I had to travel to Halifax from New Brunswick and stay in a hotel for 6 days, take a course, that was a very expensive way to obtain the training. So, you can imagine your meals and your accommodations and your travel involved in all of that, plus the course itself. It was it was a very huge investment. Luckily at that time, Indigenous services, whatever they were called then, I guess, funded through an Atlantic fund, were able to fund us to take it. But now you can sit at home, much like what I did with my master's degree, basically took it from my kitchen table, online, 2 or 3 times a week, on weekends, working, handing in assignments electronically, doing this, talking through a platform. And I was able to obtain my degree that way largely. So it's really, I guess that's one of the benefits, I guess, if you will, of this time that we're in, that it gives you time to focus on some of that professional development and to take courses, finish your degree, whatever it is that you needed time for. And it seems like we have that now. So I think that's a gift. And I would like to see definitely more EDOs and others take advantage of the CanDo courses that are being offered through Links to Learning and other initiatives. I know here in New Brunswick, we're just talking with JEDI, and I see Val online. I want to wave to Val and say hi. Val Polches works for JEDI New Brunswick, and JEDI New Brunswick is just initiating a series of courses rather, to satisfy those competency areas for their EDOs here in New Brunswick again. So as time goes by, people like me move on to other organizations and do other work. New EDOs come in, and some of them may or may not have post-secondary education or competency in each of those areas. So we strive to put on those courses so that the EDOs can obtain that information that they need. And yeah, we're doing it here up east again and having another go around.
Great. I feel like we are in this unique opportunity. I understand the Zoom fatigue. I understand that we're all tired, like especially here in Alberta. We're now we're kind of in a shutdown. Everything, as of midnight last night, kind of shut down again. So we've been in this for about a year, but I cannot help but wonder and feel that this is a unique opportunity to pursue the continuing education that perhaps wasn't available to us unless we had to travel somewhere, unless we had to go somewhere. Now we have it accessible. There's so many things that are accessible online that I didn't have available to me, prior to a year ago. So I think it's a unique opportunity to invest in our professional development and our continuing education. And this certification that you were talking about is one of those pieces. So I think that this is great. I also loved that you put in a little piece for the youth economic development, that summit, that conference. I think it's important also that we really bring this to our young people and create opportunity for them to learn and to explore and to ask those questions, as they are our future. So I think that that's awesome too. So way to go, really involving the youth and investing in the youth in that way. So it doesn't appear to me that there's are any questions or comments. We'll give it a moment, but we appreciate you all taking the time just to come and listen and perhaps be curious and wonder about the possibilities for yourself for this certification. So like I said, after they've finished their presentation, shoot these ladies an email if you have, any thoughts, any inclinations, any nudges of what you want to possibly pursue for yourself and where you work. So, all right. Well, I think that's it. Thank you all for joining. Awesome. Send in an email. Carmelle, you're getting an email. Check that inbox. Thank you all for joining. We just want to just press pause, and we do want to give thanks to the Creator for the gift of another day. We don't know the future, but we know we can be in this moment. We can be present. So we just want to give a shout out to Creator. We give thanks for the gift of land. Anita, before you all came on, Anita had showed us, what was outside the back door, and she had this beautiful waters like right outside her back door. So we think of all these gifts that the Creator has given to us, the gift of land, waters, the birds, the plants, the animals, and then our circle, our friends, our family. So we give thanks for all of these gifts, that we hold them close, that we would just walk in a place of humility and gratitude. In this pandemic, may we take time just to be okay with resting and taking those mental wellness breaks when we need them. But then also when we have that fire, we have that interest to pursue something more, may you take those opportunities. So thank you all for joining. It was good to have you, good to see you here. And Anita has one more thing to say.
Michelle, if you'll allow me, I'd like to say just a closing prayer in my language. I don't know if you were all following the news, but certainly Val is aware of this. One of the First Nation fishing boats capsized not too far from home, and one of our men is still missing in the water, and one passed. And I think all of our communities are feeling this and hurting. So I just wanted to offer a prayer. This prayer was actually written by the grandmother of the young fellow who perished, and it's a very special prayer. Oniskam ukswaden da desik gohegekkunum ak da desik asudum meda emsir goe wejia gilek nanige abijadal edamu basa gesal timkowel ak sabe widil nadulyach.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you,
And thank you,
Val.
ladies, for putting this on today. Great presentation.
Thank you all. Peace.
And we'll talk
Bye.